Hi y'all. Using a scythe, which is basically a big knife to harvest onions. Okay, if you let me cover this real quick. I've already harvested the onions over here, and it took a long time. These are the sweet potatoes, or I mean the sugar beets. I got a few rows here. Sweet potatoes. See all that? More sweet potatoes. My tractor is down, so I can't really do much. You know, I'm ordering parts, and I have to go, you know, month by month, you know, the budget. But anyways, let me show you. I don't have the tractor or the implements to harvest these crops, right? So I'm using what I have, and you can't make any excuses for what's coming. You got to be able to grow food and harvest it. And let me show you. I've got a whole bunch of onions buried in here, all the way up to that tree in these rows, but I can't get to them. Oh, maybe it's just up to here. It's all covered in here. But I did this right here pretty quick. And what I did was I used a scythe. I used a scythe, right? To cut the top of the grass off. And this is what it looks like right here. I'm sure you've seen these. Right here, see that? It's called the scythe. And check this out too. That's a razor blade right there. You got to be real careful with that thing. But I was cutting the top off, and you can see where I cut the top of the onion right there. So you got to be careful. So anyway, so I cut the top of the grass off, right? And then I used this garden fork to crack the soil, right? And then I used this little trowel right here to kind of pop him up. And it went pretty quick. So the main thing with this tool right here is it's basically a razor blade. It's basically a razor blade. And let me go ahead and set it over here. And that's sandpaper. That's sandpaper right there. I'm using that to sharpen the blade. I forgot to bring the sharpener that goes with it. So I've got the sandpaper, and I'm basically putting it on the trowel, you know, that I just showed you, the red handle trowel. And I'm using that to sharpen that the blade right there. It's a dangerous instrument, but look how effective it is. I mean, I did all this right here in about maybe less than 15 minutes, just cut the top off. So I've got, I'm gonna go ahead and say maybe half hour a row. No, 20 minutes a row. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more rows to do. I've got to get my tractor running. This whole thing, this is how important it is to have working equipment. Now I do have that horse tiller that still works, but I've got to clear this whole thing up. I mean, look at it. It's like a jungle in there. See that? So that's my objectives. My objectives today is to harvest all these onions, and it's pretty hot and humid. And when you're working in this kind of heat, it's always important to pay attention to your body. Literally, if something doesn't feel right, you got to take a break. You know, because if you get knocked out, something happens, it's over. All right. So yeah, using a scythe to harvest onions. It's pretty cool. I have the, you know, the potato plow. I would have just run that through and you know, dug the onions up, and they would have, you know, toppled over off to the side. But my tractor's not running. I got to get 2 tires. Basically, to do the damn tires, it's going to run over about 2,500 bucks. So I had to spread it out over some time, you know, a couple months, almost 3 months, you know, a little bit at a time. But yeah, you don't give up, you don't quit just because you don't have your implements. Got to go back the old-fashioned way. See that? Pretty nifty. My wife wants all the onions intact. I was going to chop them up and put them in the freezer, but she wants to deal with them whole, so I don't know. But I think I'm done growing onions. I planted 1,500 onions, and I'm going to go for the sugar beet this time because 1,500 calories a pound. And you all saw that 2 pounds, 15-ounce sugar beet that I pulled up. I ate some of it. I cooked it up yesterday, and it has such a high sugar content. I mean, it's like, wow. Kind of like, might be a little bit too much sugar, but it's food, and it can stay in the ground year-round, okay? So I'm gonna go for the sugar beet. That's gonna be my 1,000,000-calorie project next year. I'm gonna focus just on sugar beets over there, in that area right there. Hit it hard, get that 1,000,000 calories, that way I can move on to another phase of this, survival garden. Gotta get that 1,000,000 calories.